My husband kicked me out the house. 3 minutes later a convoy of black SUVs pulled up. You're done here, Vanessa. My husband's voice echoed through the marble hallway just as thunder rattled the windows outside. I stood frozen near the staircase, still clutching the grocery bag I had carried in from the car. One of the milk cartons slipped from my fingers and burst across the floor, white liquid spreading over the polished tiles like spilled paint. Ethan didn't even look at it. Or me. Behind him stood his younger assistant, Chloe, pretending not to smile while avoiding eye contact. That hurt more than I expected. 16 years of marriage, 16 years of loyalty, sacrifices, unpaid nights helping him build his business from a tiny garage office into one of the fastest growing construction companies in Illinois. And now he looked at me like I was an inconvenience standing in the way of his new life. I think you should calm down, I whispered, though my own voice trembled. Calm down. Ethan laughed sharply. You embarrassed me in front of investors tonight. I asked why you transferred $80,000 from our savings account. It's my money. Our money, I corrected quietly. Chloe shifted awkwardly near the doorway. Ethan noticed and immediately softened his tone toward her. Baby, can you give us a second? Baby. The word hit me harder than screaming would have. Chloe disappeared upstairs while Ethan stepped closer to me, lowering his voice. You've become exhausting, Vanessa. I stared at the man I once loved enough to work double shifts beside him while pregnant. The same man who used to leave handwritten notes in my lunchbox. The same man who once cried when our daughter Olivia was born. Now there was nothing warm left in his eyes. Only irritation. I know about Chloe, I said quietly. His jaw tightened. And honestly, I continued, tears burning my eyes, the affair hurts less than the way you stopped respecting me. For a brief second, guilt flickered across his face. Then it disappeared. You know what your problem is. He snapped. You still think this marriage works because you supported me when I was broke. I blinked slowly. That mattered to me. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. Silence swallowed the room. Rain hammered against the windows while somewhere upstairs Chloe walked across the floor in bare feet. Ethan pointed toward the front door. You need to leave. I laughed softly because surely this couldn't be real. What? I'm serious. You're kicking me out. You'll land on your feet. You always do. I stared at him in disbelief. My daughter lives here. She's at Stanford most of the year. That's still her home. She'll understand. No, she wouldn't. Olivia adored me, and despite Ethan's growing arrogance over the years, I honestly believed he still loved me somewhere beneath it all. But standing there in that cold hallway, I realized something devastating. Success hadn't changed my husband. It revealed him. Where am I supposed to go? I asked quietly. Ethan rubbed his forehead impatiently. Vanessa, don't make this dramatic. 16 years. Reduced to an inconvenience. I swallowed the lump in my throat and walked upstairs silently. My hands shook as I packed a small suitcase. Every room held memories. Family movie nights. Christmas mornings. Olivia learning piano downstairs while Ethan danced badly in the kitchen making pancakes. How does a home become unrecognizable so quickly? When I came back downstairs, Chloe stood beside Ethan wearing one of his sweaters. My sweater, actually. I recognized it instantly because I bought it for him during our anniversary trip to Vermont. She looked uncomfortable now, less triumphant. Probably because reality feels uglier up close. I grabbed my coat. Ethan opened the front door without another word. Cold rain slapped against my face immediately. I stepped onto the porch carrying my suitcase while neighbors' lights glowed faintly through the storm. Then Ethan said the one thing I'll never forget. You should have learned your place a long time ago. The door slammed behind me. I stood there stunned, not crying, not yelling, just hollow. Rain soaked through my clothes within seconds as I walked slowly toward the curb. My entire life fit inside one suitcase. I remember thinking how strange it was that after years of supporting everyone else, I suddenly had nowhere to go. Then I heard engines. Deep, powerful, multiple. Headlights turned onto our street. One black SUV. Then another. And another. 6 in total. They moved slowly through the rain before stopping directly in front of Ethan's house. My heart skipped. The doors opened almost simultaneously. Men in dark suits stepped out first. Professional. Alert. Then the back passenger door of the center SUV opened. An older man emerged holding a large umbrella. Silver hair, sharp navy overcoat, distinguished posture, and the moment I recognized him, I nearly dropped my suitcase. Mr. Calloway. Arthur Calloway looked at me standing in the rain and his expression changed instantly. "Oh no," he murmured softly. Within seconds he hurried toward me while one of the security men held the umbrella above us both. "What happened to you?" I could barely process the scene. Arthur Calloway was one of the wealthiest real estate developers in the country. Billionaire. Philanthropist. The man Ethan had desperately been trying to secure a business partnership with for over a year. But to me, he was simply Arthur. 3 years earlier, I had found him collapsed beside his car during a snowstorm outside a grocery store. Everyone else walked past thinking he was homeless because he was disoriented and poorly dressed after a minor accident. I stopped, called an ambulance, stayed with him for 6 hours at the hospital because he had no emergency contacts nearby. He never forgot it. Afterward, he occasionally sent flowers on holidays or donated anonymously to the women's shelter where I volunteered. But I hadn't seen him in almost a year. Now he stared at my soaked clothes and suitcase with visible anger. Did Ethan do this? Before I could answer, the front door swung open. Ethan stepped outside confidently at first, until he recognized Arthur Calloway standing in front of our house. His entire face drained of color. "Mr. Calloway." Arthur turned slowly. I had never seen disappointment look so powerful. "You threw your wife into the street during a storm." Ethan stammered immediately. "No, sir, this is just a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Chloe appeared behind him, suddenly looking terrified. Arthur glanced between them once. That was enough. The old billionaire sighed heavily. "For months, Vanessa defended your character every time someone questioned it." Ethan looked stunned. I was too. Arthur turned toward me gently. "You never told me your husband was Ethan Whitmore." "I didn't think it mattered." "It matters now." Rain continued pouring around us while neighbors secretly peeked through curtains. Ethan forced a nervous laugh. "Sir, maybe we should discuss this inside." "No," Arthur replied coldly. "I've seen enough." Ethan's confidence cracked instantly. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." Arthur stepped closer. "You spent a year chasing my investment while humiliating the woman who once saved my life." Silence. Complete silence. Chloe slowly stepped backward into the house. "Smart girl." Arthur looked at one of his assistants. "Cancel the Whitmore contract negotiations immediately." Ethan paled. "Sir, please, and notify the board I'll be withdrawing support from every joint proposal involving his company." Panic flashed across Ethan's face. "You can't destroy my company over a personal matter." Arthur's expression hardened. "No, you destroyed it when you forgot how to treat people." I looked at Ethan then. Really looked at him. For the first time in years, he seemed small. Not powerful. Not important. Just frightened. Arthur turned back toward me. "Vanessa, you're coming with us." "I couldn't possibly." "You can and you will." One of the women from his staff stepped forward kindly and wrapped a warm coat around my shoulders. That simple gesture nearly broke me emotionally. After everything that happened, kindness felt overwhelming. As we walked toward the SUV, Ethan suddenly rushed down the driveway. "Vanessa, wait." I stopped. Rain dripped from his hair while desperation replaced arrogance completely. "You know I didn't mean this." I stared at him quietly. "Yes," I said softly. "You did." His eyes filled with panic. "Please don't do this." I almost laughed at the irony. Hours earlier, he stood warm inside our house while throwing me into the rain. Now he was begging me not to leave. Arthur opened the SUV door for me personally. But before I got inside, I turned back one final time. Not for revenge, for closure. "You know what hurts most?" I asked Ethan quietly. "It's not losing the house. Or the marriage." He looked hopeful for a second, as if maybe I still loved him enough to stay. "It's realizing I would never have treated you this way. No matter what happened between us." The truth hit him harder than anger ever could. I got inside the SUV. And for the first time in months, I felt strangely calm. As the convoy pulled away, I watched Ethan standing alone in the rain while the mansion behind him suddenly looked empty. Arthur handed me a clean handkerchief. "You okay?" I nodded weakly. "I think so." He studied me carefully. "You know, Most people with real character don't realize how rare they are. I looked out the window at the blurred city lights. I wasn't trying to be extraordinary when I helped you that day. I know, Arthur said softly. That's exactly why it mattered. The convoy drove downtown toward one of Arthur's luxury hotels. Inside the penthouse suite waiting for me were dry clothes, warm food, and fresh flowers beside a handwritten note that read, "Good people should never feel abandoned." I cried then, not because of Ethan, because after hours of humiliation and heartbreak, someone still saw value in me when I struggled to see it myself. The next few weeks changed everything. Arthur insisted I stay as long as needed. Meanwhile, Ethan's company began collapsing faster than anyone expected. Without Arthur's investment backing, investors pulled out one after another. Rumors spread. Board members resigned. Chloe disappeared almost immediately. Of course she did. People attracted to success rarely stay for failure. But the real surprise came from Olivia. The moment she learned what happened, she flew home from California without telling either of us. She walked into Arthur's hotel suite carrying her backpack and burst into tears the second she saw me. "Oh my God, Mom." I held her tightly while she cried against my shoulder. Then she pulled back with fury burning in her eyes. "He did what?" I tried calming her down, but Olivia marched straight downstairs and called her father immediately. I only heard pieces of the conversation. "You threw Mom out. I don't care what your excuse is. You, listen to me." Then finally, "She loved you when nobody else believed in you." Silence. And then she hung up. That night Olivia curled beside me on the couch like she used to after nightmares as a child. "You're gonna be okay," she whispered. I kissed her forehead. "I know." And for the first time in a long time, I truly believed it.